Hello everyone. Today we start our new episode with another talent peoples, and he has a lot of interesting activities on design and technology, and he is a famous designer from India, but he do work in Europe and USA and around the world. So he will share his designing concept as well as the economical aspects and many interesting things he will share with us. And I know we have many young entrepreneurs and many different people from around the world. Hopefully, you will enjoy. Hello, how are you?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Namaste, first
yes,
of
yes,
all. That's what we call in India.
yes, yes.
Let me give my brief. He told a lot about me, and I'm a designer basically. I'm a designer. I'm a product designer as well as an entrepreneur. So I run two companies. One is Dominic Strategic Design Private Limited, and one is Dhruva Bhaknikar Luxury Design Private Limited. So Dominic's is a consultancy. Dominic's is a design consultancy where we consult big corporations as well as startups in design dynamics, in design strategies, and their overall business strategies, as well as products, as well as lifestyle products, as well as brands. So it's a holistic approach we take towards engaging with the client, and to turn their company around. So if it's a startup, uh, we build their brand, we build their product ground up. And if it's a bigger company like L&T, Reliance, we have worked with. So we take their products and we completely change their product uh, in terms of the philosophy, in terms of the design, in terms of the strategy, and we give out a different whole new aspect towards strategic design to these clients. So that's how we work in this Dominic Strategy Design Private Limited. And the second one is Dhruva Bhaknikar Luxury Design Private Limited, where I mostly it's me designing a lot of products, and my team, trying to make the products possible. There are very vague concepts. There are many concepts which can't be done, but we are trying to do that. The products are basically in luxury lifestyle, in which there are tabletop products, furniture, lighting products are there. We are coming up very soon with a watch collection altogether. So I guess that's the brief that I have. And in my past, I was working. I studied at MIT Institute of Design. I also studied at Strat École de Design in Paris, where I worked with very prominent designers as Emmanuel Cairo, Jacques Dole, Philippe Lopresti, who is a ace illustrator in France, as well as Klaus Peter Spiedel, who is the president of Vienna University. Then I worked for a while. I interned for a while with IKEA in Vélizy, France, and I worked with a few British companies as well. Then I went to New York to intern with Karim Rashid in his New York studio, and that's something which really changed my life, really changed my perspective towards design. Here in India, we are taught about problem solving as design. In Europe, that it was a whole different story. It was a lifestyle approach. It was a styling approach, and in IKEA it was more of a make it simple, keep it simple, reduce, and recycle, reuse, and all these things. And at Karim's it was a whole brand driven exercise where I keenly observed how a brand grows, how a brand is, and what kind of commitment is needed for the brands.
Okay, this is very interesting. I just want to know, like from you, like as you are a designer and design thinkers, like when you start your careers or you go to MIT and for higher study, so do you have any pre-plan that you will choose your careers or how you actually achieve your goal? Or what's the
Yes.
story behind that? Yes.
Yeah. So first of all, when I was very small, I guess it was age 7, 8, something. I was in my second standard, third standard. Then my drawing was really good. I used to draw a lot of cars, a lot of products at that time too. And as I grew in 2008 2009, I designed a whole building for my school. Again, looking at it now, it's there are a lot of flaws in it. But again, that time, my professor, the principal of the school, Mr. Vivek Pongshe, he like he told me a lot about how to design it. He guided me a lot in that whole scenario. And of course, there were my parents who knew that, so I'll end up in the creative industry. And so the first creative industry, the closest creative industry that we had in our family was architecture. So they were telling me to go to architecture. Of course, I gave the exams of architecture. And as a frankly, at that time, as a backup, I had design as giving exams for design as a backup. And when I went to the design school, when I went to MIT, I realized what design is basically, and how our perception of design was very different. So I always thought that design was something to do with just the styling of any product, or the styling of garments, of the styling of brands. But it is much more than that. I realized it very soon that it was something that I had to do. And I enrolled into MIT. I didn't listen to my parents, who were saying, let's go to architecture first, and then you can end up here. But that, I guess, that decision was super. It turned out to be good. And I really started loving what I do. So in the first year, I wanted to design automobiles. I wanted to design cars. I'm a very I'm a very good fan of any car that is good. And I have a collection. I have a 1:24 scale collection at my office, which is there. And I wanted to design cars myself. But in my first year, I designed a product which was a walker. So my brother Rutu is a specially abled child. So as my first assignment for product design, I wanted to design something for him. And I designed, so basically I analyzed his walker, and I uh, designed something which would makes his hands free. And that's what that got to me, that this kind of difference is something that I can make for the entire life, right? Also at that time, the product design HOD, Mr. Sanjay Jain, who was there, he was he texted me like 25 times that you should come and do product design from the second year. You should not be doing transportation design when you have this much skills in product design. Again, at that time, I consulted a lot of people. I consulted a lot of designers who were senior, and again, they all told me that I had a better knack of product design. And of course, I can do design automobiles when it is time. And I ended up in product design. So after I started the education, it was phenomenal. So every week we had the classes. We had to do an assignment. Every assignment I converted into a product. And in the weekends, I used to come home, and there were like a bunch of friends that we used to meet at my place every weekend, both the days, Saturday and Sunday. And we used to design different products. We used to design different technological products. Of course, that age and that passion was there to ensure that we were doing something really good. That helped me get slots at Static Older Design, where I presented the products. There was a phone that I designed. There was a wristband that I designed, and that wristband was technologically designed in such a way that the emotions could be sensed by the watch. So there is something called as skin conductive resistance, and through that, the emotions could be sensed. And if someone is stressed, either we would let the close people know, or you get some pop-up on the wristband, and it all the stress was busting, something like that. So these were some kind of products that we designed. There was one ergonomic phone that we designed. So if so this is a phone, this is an iPhone. So if you see this side, so this the edge is the edges are parallel. Okay, so when I want to reach my thumb wants to reach here, so I do something like this, right? So we designed a phone where the edges were not parallel, so the edges were somewhat like this, and you could reach the buttons, you could reach the screen very easily. And even the products were, you know, showcased at Strathclyde University in UK and Brunel University in UK as design pieces. And when I came back to India, of course, I met a lot of people with regards to the technology of it, but that unfortunately that kind of technology, even though it is possible, it required a lot of money as well as a lot of, you know, lot of innovation to happen in that kind of technology. So I had the technology theoretically proved, but the practicality of it was not possible. Again, that was that age, I guess. We needed to, you know, do something in life, right? So that's my motivation, where I, you know, started, and I fell in love with it. I still, you know, since I've bought my computer home, I've been working till nights, and you know, the first thing I do in the morning is turn off the computer. So that's what it does to you, I guess.
Okay, this is very interesting history, but side by side, I want to understand. Let's say when a company focus on designing the products, okay,
Yes,
what's the economical aspects or benefit a company gets, like with a better
exactly.
designing, with a better technology, how they get economical benefits? What's the insight
Yes,
of this
yes.
game? Yes.
Perfect, perfect. It's a nice question. It's a nice question. So when the first thing that anyone needs to understand is a product design is not styling it. Okay, many companies have come to me telling that we have designed this product, and now just, you know, we love your style, we love your work style, so just make something, make it look better, make it, you know, let the market go crazy behind that. So it's not just that. Of course, that's something that is there, and that is something that we do, and of course we do a nice job out of it, but that is not the whole story that the company needs to understand. So I have seen a economical success rate in the startups who have always opted for design from the scratch, from the first day of their whole system. Um, so design, how design and economy are related. So that thing needs to be known by the person, by the company. Okay, so let me tell you that in a very brief way. um, Apart from the designing costs, which are, you know, which are different for various design agencies, which are different for various designers, but apart from that, anything which goes on in the product design has to, you know, has to see in two three aspects. So first aspect is the market. So what kind of market we are capturing upon? So we basically study the market. So there are various kinds of researches that we do. We study in detail what kind of perceptions the people have in the market. So let me give you an example of a thing called horror vokai. It's a principle called horror vokai. Okay, so there are two kinds of stores. There are two kind of clothing stores. So one clothing store has a lot of clothes which are, you know, hung, or there are a lot of mannequins which are there in the, you know, when you see the outside of the store, you see a lot of clothes. And one store, there are, it's very simple. There are one or two pieces kept, and you know, there is an entrance and you go in. So the perception of the person becomes like, "Arey, the second store is a costlier store." So you kind of neglect the whole cost sensitive people. You neglect the whole cost sensitive people. And the second one is the cream layer doesn't go there because they understand that they try, but like they their perspective is that this is not a kind of store that we need, we'll get the quality from, right? So that kind of psychological aspects are everywhere. The visual psychology is there. There is a lot of things which can be, you know, sorted just visually. right? So first of all, you see the market, the economic market segment that we need to have, and that kind of design should reflect. So if I design something like Apple, and I place it in a slum, it won't the people won't they won't empathize with the product, right? So that kind of aspect is the first thing while designing any product. The second aspect is the end-to-end life cycle of the product that we need to understand. Okay, so a designer needs to understand what kind of economic inputs are there in terms of that product. Okay, so for example, when you prototype, the prototyping cost should not go higher than an X amount. The manufacturing cost should not be higher than an X amount. And what kind of return on investment that we get from that, the whole product, the whole cycle, is something which is important at the very very early stages. So what kind of ROI we want from it, what kind of materials we want to use in it, what kind of systems we want to use in it, and what kind of things we need to design for it. All these things are really important, right? That is the second aspect where the economy and the design is a very integrated part, because as I say that design is a great amalgamation of human intuitions, human touch, and the business decisions. So it's a combination of both. How will people feel using the design, and what kind of the business is going to be there? Because at the end of the day, if the design doesn't work, if the business is not generated, the company fails. That's how that cycle works. So that's the second aspect of it. And the third aspect of it is what kind of environment we are going to harm. So it's not just about the economic impacts of the whole product, but the environmental impacts too. And can we afford those environmental impacts in the long run for the company as well as the world? So these three aspects are there, of course, there from the very start. And again, a designer really works to lessen the cost involved in the manufacturing. So the whole craft lies in reducing and reducing and reducing. I guess the more reduction is there, designer is the most happiest in that case. Again, if one product, we need to understand that if one product has just one task, that is something that we as designers now shouldn't have, is what I believe. So the economic impact of just it should be like a Swiss knife. There are like hundreds of things, and still it's beautiful, right? So it should be something like that, and the whole economic circle that is there around the product it should be justified. So as a designer, when we get a product to design, we think about all these aspects. And the biggest aspect that we sell and we care about is the economy. So that is there. But again, because of the economy, we shouldn't be using cheap materials. We shouldn't be compromising on the aesthetics of it. We shouldn't be all these are ethical points. So there is a very fine line between all these things, and we need to juggle all these things to get the perfect square, the perfect product. Again, a designer's mind never stops there. That product, again, you can reduce something in that. You can reduce weight. You can reduce the cost. You can make it much more simpler. You can make it much more beautiful. All these aspects are there. Again, that doesn't stop.
I have one specific question in my mind. Let's say now in COVID-19 situation, many business actually slow down. Their business growth and many business actually slow down. So in that situation, let's say you are working as a design consultant for the industry. So how designing activities or your consultancy can help an organizations to grow their business or overcome from this challenging situation?
Yes. So the most important part about design is design thinking. Design thinking is essentially problem solving. It is the base of problem solving. And right now we are in a very big problem. So what we did for ourselves, as well as what we did for a couple of clients in this COVID situation, is we really sat down and made a SWOT analysis of their company. So we have a method where in my company we have developed a method called as context mapping. Okay, so we map an entire business in 4 segments. One is the financial segment, one is the environmental segment, one is the personal segment, and one is the team segment, the business segment of it, right? So we map, there are many aspects in whole 4 quadrants, and we map them accordingly, and that's where we get to know what kind of things we need to change, what kind of things we need to rebuild upon, what kind of things we need to let go. And that is something, as a strategic designer, we have done for a couple of companies, a couple of big companies actually. And we are we are approached by many startups now, who are facing these kind of problems. But at the end of the day, if you're not solving a problem altogether, if you're not solving anything, the life of the company is it is shady in this kind of time periods. But again, if you're bringing something really good on the table, of course you're all the businesses are hit. Every business, I guess, Reliance Jio exception is, there is an exception of Reliance Jio, but otherwise all the businesses are taking a hit. And there is a huge gap in the market right now that needs to be filled. So that is going to be there for a while now, and we need to analyze ourselves, we need to analyze our businesses, and we need to see what kind of steps we need to take forward. So this is a good reset, which will ensure the companies that the design thinking is in the core of their businesses. So right now what we are doing is we are giving the companies design thinking strategies. We are teaching the directorial boards of the companies about design thinking, what kind of, how to solve the problems, what kind of approaches should be there. So a few years back, like 10 years back, when this term design thinking was coined by a great designer called Tim Brown, who is the CEO of IDEO right now. When that term was coined, there were many reports, there were many McKinsey reports which told that every company should have design thinking leadership in their core teams. And that is something that has been true now. Because of this COVID situation, many businesses have realized that design thinking and problem solving should be at the core of their businesses, and that's how they are approaching us, that's how we are helping them. And again, it's a huge it's a huge task, it's a huge responsibility that comes with it, and that's how it is.
Okay. Beside that, you said you are working with different kind of startup and you handle venture capital and this kind of activities. So when
Yes.
any new companies or startup they start their business,
Mhm.
how actually
Mhm.
you monitor them or you help them or you advise them? So how you actually run your this kind of activities with a startup especially?
Yes. So with the startups, as we know that they don't really have that upfront capital that is needed for a business. Many of the startups are bootstrapped. Some startups have a series one, but they have their financial constraints which are there. So that is one major thing that we need to consider when we start to design. Um, many startups are there who want these kind of design thinking indulged in their whole process. So right now, in the past few days, I've consulted more than like 15 startups for free, completely for free, to just making their analysis, just telling them what kind of development that they need to have, what kind of things they want to quit, they don't want to continue anymore. And that kind of approach gives a really good it gives a goodwill amongst the whole community. What I believe more is, in this era, we need to you know we need to have some positivity in the industry, and that is what is needed right now. That is what is the most essential thing right now. And talking about the startups which are, the incubated and all these things, I am a mentor at many incubators in Pune. And the India's biggest incubator is in Pune itself. It's called as the Venture Center, and it has around 100 and 120 odd companies right now incubated. Many of the companies have got all the design inputs from me as a work for hire or a retainer basis, and the charges for these startups are very low with compared to the bigger. But of course, one thing I always do with a startup is, if I find that startup very much innovative, that's where I really, I don't care about the money. I really just look forward to the outcome, that is the impact that is creating. For example, we recently we designed uh, a pad shredder, sanitary pad shredder for a company called Padcare. And that basically what that did is it shredded the sanitary pads, it disinfected the sanitary pads completely, and the sanitary pads waste can be converted in paper. And that's something that the world wants, right? That's something. It's right now the incineration is used, the sanitary pads are burnt, and that's how the waste is created, the carbon is created, all the carbon footprint is maximized. And right now, we did something like that, and it was for a very minimal nominal cost. But that's something that really created an impact. And 5-6 prototypes have been installed in the NCL right now, and the tests are going on, and hopefully by the end of this year we'll be rolling out that product soon. So that is something and again, I myself have another startup called Dhruva Paknikar Luxury Design Private Limited, which is which is a product-driven startup. So I know what kind of I can empathize directly what kind of pressures, what kind of situations can a startup get on themselves, and that really helps me to deal with consultation.
Okay, thank you. Like in present situation, actually, when we work in Asia Pacific with different corporations and industry,
Uh,
we find that they always claim that we do not have world-class designer. So I think there is a shortage of world-class designer at present situation. That's why right the way when I find you, I say welcome, and we can discuss on that particular point. So
yes.
how actually you can you can train more designers and like you or this kind of people, because always I find in corporation that they said we have shortage of like creative designers, world class designers,
Yes. Yes.
maybe like management wants a different kind of a model, maybe they do not get a very good delivery. So how you can work on that particular points, or you have any project right now?
So first of all, we need to fill that gap. The designers that are working right now
Mhm.
need to fill in the gaps. There are many segments in design. There are many disciplines in design, and as designers, we need to fill the gap between the global design and what we call as a local design. We need to be global enough. But that is happening in India. That is happening very rapidly right now. People are focusing much more on the usage than the other stuff, than just the traditional styling and all these things. Of course, that is important. I'm not saying that is not important, but as designers, we need to take our whole fraternity to a global level. um, Actually, being a designer in India, being a design student in India is what I believe it is blissful, and it is something that the European or the American people don't have. Is what we can really do is we can take a lot of insight from the traditions, from the culture that we already have. There is a huge cultural richness in India, and unfortunately, we have not been using it till now. So with the global contemporary methods, global contemporary manufacturing systems, all these things, we need to really amalgamate the Indian traditional stuff. I'm not talking about the styling and all, but there are many methods, there are many systems which are there in the cultural aspects of India, which can be made global at this moment. And second of all, coming back to your point, back to your question, the design school, the number of design schools in India was very less till like 5-6 years back. In the past 5-6 years, the number of design education institutions are exponentially grown, and I know a couple of institutes which have design thinking as their base, but I'm sure that every design institute in India which is being born right now should have that as a base, should have design thinking as a base. They should not uh, should not make the students just skillful. The thinking, the thought processes behind it should remain intact. They should be teaching it. I'm right now mentoring a few students. There are few interns which are there, and I'm always a one call away for many people, many students who are in design colleges, who usually they call me up and they ask me if anything is anything is wrong, anything is missing. And if something which is there which I don't know about, that I have a set of mentors which I go to, and I directly I can ask them what is the solution for that. But again, if you see a few years back, interestingly, I asked Kareem the same question when he visited India. We had met. So at that time, I asked him the same question, that like 30 years back when you started in the US, was there enough design knowledge in the people? Was there enough uh, was there enough kind of acceptance about design altogether? So he was like, no, I had to teach the clients, I had to teach students, I had to teach many people what kind of design is going to be there. And I guess 30 years, 35 years down the line, India, we are facing the same thing. But I believe positively that we'll get ahead of it, and soon enough we'll be the leaders of design in the world.
Okay, very interesting. Very interesting. I have more question before I go to my question. There are some audience response. I think you
Yes.
have a very good followers. So Mr. Vat, he said very nice. Then Sam, he said very interesting. Everybody encouraging you. Mr. Tanvir, he said very nice. And Shatish said good going. Anyway, there is a specific question from Mr. Sohel Rana. He's actually doing a
Uh-huh.
lot of work for WT Forum. He said the
Okay.
impact of design sector on the economy has increased a lot in the current corona situation. Which
Yes.
aspect of designing do you think will take the big place in the virtual world? So he's thinking about the virtual world and the
Yes.
designing concept. Yes.
Yes. So, while designing for the virtual world, that is called as interaction design, as we call it. Again, interaction design is something which is very new. So, all the mistakes that the brand designers and as well as the industrial designers like us did are covered in this kind of systems. Virtually, the best thing that is there virtually is the prototype is in front of you. You don't need to it just evolve, the prototype just evolves with you. You can test the prototype without any costs. So for example, in industrial design, we have to make the prototype, we have to build the prototype, which has a lot of costs involved in it, and if it fails, we have to build another several prototypes to get the right product done. Here in this case, there is very nominal cost that is involved in the digital world. And that's how I guess the economic gap, the bridge is there, right? So I guess the digital the role of design in the digital era is a lot, in terms of the whole design process, the empathizing part of it, the ideating part of it, the testing part of it. The huge economic chunks have been huge economic chunks have been saved while getting these kind of prototypes out. And there is a lot of interaction. You get to understand the data, you get to understand how the consumer reacts to a certain thing. You can pivot, and the whole design, whole design process is very economic friendly in terms of interaction design. And of course, it goes the other way, that the economy is, that it is tested things goes out in the market, and it impacts the greater economy. The lot of things that we wasted are now we can use them, basically. And of course, the direct economic impact is you get to know the consumer psychology by these interactive devices, by these interactive apps and websites. And again, you can you can break the cycle somewhere where there is an economic gap, and you can fill in that gap with certain prototypes, with certain products. And you can see the horizon where this kind of domain where there are no products, and there is a product need there is a service need there, and companies can have that kind of insight right when they start ideating. That's where you save a lot of money, and that's the beauty of interaction design, I guess.
Mhm. I just want to know more about the professional organization. Let's say when we observe Apple activities,
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
find even Steve Jobs, he do more focus on the designing of the Apple products. Okay, and they have a very good professional teams
Yes.
designing the product, and he has a more concentration on designing Apple products. So, as you're
Yes.
working in Europe and North America, so can you share few of your experience from big industry? How actually big industry they focus on designing the products and this kind of things?
Yes. So Steve Jobs is one of my favorites. First of all,
Mhm.
Apple. My all my products are Apple, and the reason why all my products are Apple is not because of their just their design, but the usability of them. So the ecosystem in which they give the solutions is something which is very interesting, and it's very easy. So uh, Steve Jobs, for example, has he had one rule: if something is not necessary, it shouldn't be there. It shouldn't be there. So it reflects in all the systems. So there was an interesting book that I read a while ago. It was called as Keeping Things Simple, Keeping It Simple, right? It was written by Hartmut Esslinger, who is the founder of Frog Design, and one of the first design consultancies in the world. Uh, Very few consultancies were there at that time, 50 years back. Uh, he basically consulted Apple. It was not Steve Jobs who designed everything. Steve Jobs had that vision. Steve Jobs had the principles that he needed to have. First is the simplicity. Second is minimalism, where a lot of output can be generated through some very small specific changes, specific things. And the third one was the attention to detail, which is very important, is what I believe. So um, that's where I guess the Indian geographical industry and the American or European, they the weightage is distributed in that sense. Because many a times when we design products in India, the attention to detail and the attention to simplicity is overlooked. uh, they want the product to the product to run. They want the product to function, and that's what they want. But they don't want to create an impact. That's where we need to educate the Indian industry. On the contrary, as you asked, in the European and the American industries, um, simplicity and minimalism is much more appreciated than all the other things. And I guess Steve Jobs is a good example because he made that possible. So
Exactly.
he almost got kicked out of the company for burning billions of millions of dollars for creating one product, which was not the R&D budget, right? But his vision and his drive for that if you see the story of Steve Jobs, he was fired from his company, and then that's where the company started making, debts. The company's profits started going down, and it was very gradual. And the whole reason, what I believe, and the whole reason which was out there, was that attention to design. And because of that story, many companies are inspired. Apple is the largest company in the world, largest revenue making company in the world right now, and the revenues are in trillions. So that is the benchmark that they set. And it was not just the attention to design. All those things which they went through made them what they are right now. Again, many companies there abroad are adapting that kind of philosophy, that kind of knowledge, and that is a good thing actually. In India, we need to adapt that knowledge more. But I've seen a lot when I'm working in the Americas, and when I'm working in Europe. That attention to detail is something which I see in each and every startup as well. Again, because they are in love with Steve Jobs and Apple, that they want to grab that kind of essence from it, and they expect that from us, which is a good thing.
Yes, but this is very interesting thing you are talking. Like example, Steve Jobs basically like more concentrate on product designing, and he has
Mhm,
a big budget for doing this kind
mhm,
of things. So according to
mhm,
South Asian economy, so do you think
mhm.
companies like big company? We also have many big companies in South Asia. So
Uh-huh.
do they concentrate in same way for designing the products, or they have their own style for doing this kind of work?
Um, Many old companies like Tata's, for example. So let me give you an example of Tata Motors. So a few years back, Tata Motors, the sales were going like down, because the main reason behind it, that there was a lot of competition coming in terms of, there was Hyundai, there are many companies which came in India a few years back, and Tata Motors, the sale was going down. And the main reason was the aspect of design. If you see the Tata Indica back then, and the Tata's design philosophy right now, there is a tremendous gap between the designs which they do right now. Even if the smallest cars they have, the Ultras, you have the specifics, you have the details which are very 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 usable. The usability is very much in the smallest of their cars. That's how I guess they got them Tata Nano, the world's cheapest car, uh, and made it a success in the European market. Although it was not a huge success in the Indian market, it was a good success. It had a good share in the European market, because the attention to detail was really good. The usability of the things were really good. And right now, the sale is again going up because of all these designs that they are coming up with. And it's not just about the styling of the design which is there. Of course, every company has their own styling methods. So, for example, Tata has their own styling method, Mercedes has their own styling method. But the usability in the car, the value for money in the car, is something which Tata gives out the most, I guess. Uh, so in their smallest car, they have an AC vent at the back, and it still is cool enough. So there are many things like that. The legroom is really good. All these things. So similarly, many product design companies, many brands in South Asia, Southeast Asia, had their own styles before, but they're rapidly adapting the design thinking which is going on in the market right now, which is going on in the world right now. And because of these design thinking practices, they are going ahead of the curve now, is what I believe. Again, let's not confuse design with the styling aspect of the company. It's much more of a functioning aspect of the company. It's much more of a functioning aspect of the product. Styling is various from culture to culture. It's various from geographics to geographics. So something which will be appealing in Europe won't be appealing in India at all. Something which is appealing in Venezuela, it won't be appealing in China at all. So the geographics and the perceptions of people make a lot of difference in terms of styling. But again, that kind of change of styling is there. One thing that is good is the technology which is there. If you observe the phones that we have, the phones that I have here in India is the exactly the phone someone has in the US, is exactly the phone someone has in China, is exactly the phone someone has in Australia, right? So the technological, the apps that we use, right, the app that we use right now, this YouTube and Facebook and all these things, exactly similar everywhere across the world. So I guess technology is bringing the whole regional constraints, the whole aspect of the traditional perspectives and perceptions. The gap is slowly the gap is bridging, and the lines are fading away. The traditional lines are fading away in these kind of businesses. Again, talking about something very very traditional, that has to have the traditional aspect, that has to have the environmental aspect of that geography and all these things. So
Very interesting.
yes.
There are a few audience response. I just want to go to the audience response. Ferdos
Uh-huh.
Rana, she said, in which sector of designing can
Uh-huh.
girl work from home nowadays?
Uh-huh.
I think she just want to know that how she can work from home in the designing concept. Then Mr.
Right.
Deepak, he said, while designing a new product, do you cross check what are the available designing of the similar product? I think he want to say something, the research on designing this kind
Yes.
of thing.
Yes. Yes.
Shangita, she said you are explaining the concept in a very simplest way, so they are appreciating even other people's. Anandi, Jayant, everybody actually like appreciate your discussions. So
Thanks.
can you yes, can you please
Yes.
explain two of the
So
questions?
the first, answering the first question, it's a nice question. Right now I'm working on from home right now,
Mhm.
so it's a very easy question to answer. um, you have to do the things which you have to do outside any which ways. But there are a lot of things in design that, because of the internet and the systems and the technology, what we can easily do is the first two three aspects, like the offline research that we have, we can do it here. The ideation part we have, we can do it here. Any prototyping for the virtual aspects, or the graphic design, as well as the um, interaction design, we can do it here by sitting at home. There are many options available. Again, the hardcore prototyping can't be done here because the factories are outside. The research, the one-to-one research can't be done, but there are plenty of research which is available online, which similar researches have been conducted by various research agencies, and they have the research online. And if you can connect the dots, it's all about research is all about the art of connecting the dots, asking something and getting a lot from it, from one answer, is the art which any researchers should have. And that, I guess, that can be done online for now. Again, this work from home thing won't be, hopefully, I pray that this won't be long enough, and we'll go out of our houses soon. But yeah, you can do many things. You can plan many things, and you can do many things like this from home. Coming to the second question, in my company, what we do is we focus much more on the problem that is needed to be solved, than the things that are outside. So first, we kind of ideate ourselves what kind of things are there, and of course, there is a team which is researching on the available things in the market, available products in the market, and how to finding the loopholes in them, and how to overcome those loopholes in our product. Second of all, there are many products which need to have standardized things, standardized parts. While thinking about the economy of the product, we need to think about standardizing parts. So standardizing parts means that the parts are manufactured somewhere for some other product, which is there, which is rolling. The parts are manufactured in thousands, like a screw, for example. You don't design a screw every time for a product, right? You use that screw which is already there, available in the market. You use a standard screw. So that kind of research has to be done and the computer research has to be done as well to get the loopholes in the market, and to get the loopholes, to get the our product a bigger USP that it needs to have.
Yes.
And thanks for everyone who is who is commenting, uh, praising all these things. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Besides that, I have a specific questions actually. Like
Hmm.
when actually you are a designer and you are a design
Hmm.
thinker, you have to be
Hmm.
creative. You have to be innovative. So
Hmm.
how actually? What do you think actually this innovation, creativity, it's come from like natural talents or professionally or by training people can gain it? What do you think? Even you say it like when you are 6 and 7 years old, that time you have a big focus on designing. Then now you are in that position. So what do you think actually design concept come from like natural nature, or it's like professionally step by step you can grow these things?
Yes, yes. On the same note, I had given a talk 2 years back at the Atal Tinkering Labs.
Mhm.
Um, in that talk, what I mentioned was that I believe that everyone is a designer, everyone is creative.
Mhm.
We all have problems, right? All have problems. The whole day we have numerous problems, and
Mhm.
we solve them. So for
Mhm.
example, if you're wearing slippers, and the slipper gets torn, okay, you can't go to the shop right away, right? You have to walk to the shop, you have to have that slippers, you have to have that shoes, and you tie them. So
Mhm.
tying them is one good example of what we call as jugaad, but on the other terms, it's problem solving.
Mhm.
So what we do is we solve problems sophisticatedly and structurally. We solve, as designers, we solve bigger problems with a structure. That's the only difference between professional designers, professionally creative people, and all the other people. So I believe that everyone is creative. Who let me know one single child who hasn't drawn on the wall, right? That, I guess, there is no one. That there is no single child who has not sung a song. But again, you are born creatively. It's all about how you practice that, how you engage in the education, and how you apply the education, how you apply the whole, the empathy you have, how you apply it, the whole exposure you have, how you apply it. And I guess that's it. Nothing more than that.
Mhm.
So as a
Thank you.
professional, I'm doing nothing more but a structured version of what I did when I was young.
Mhm. Okay, understand. There are more questions from the audience. Mr. Paresh, he
Sure.
said, "Great going. What do you suggest to the young designers, and what do you suggest to the design mentors?" This is one question. Another question from Araf Mehraj. Today discussion is very important for the new generation. Do you think design idea depend on social culture?
I myself am a representative of the young generation. I've not been practicing for more than 5 years now, so I consider myself as the young generation in design. What I will tell them is there is a lot to understand. There is a lot to The world is changing at a rate where everyone is new every day. Everyone should be new every day. So there must not be any, the experience, the years of experience you get should not bias you in any way as a creative. And every day should be new. Every day you should learn many things. You should learn a lot uh, from every single aspect. And a product is always, anything you design, anything you create, has different aspects of uh, uh, different aspects of meanings, different perspectives of meanings to from different people. So again, telling the young designers like me, uh, that be crazy enough. That's all. And the mentors, of course, I have a lot of design mentors. I guess Paresh sir is one of my mentor itself. He who commented. um, he taught me packaging design. He was my faculty at my packaging design course. So I'll always tell the mentors to keep teaching and keep learning from the students as well. So it's a to and fro thing. And of course, I'm really blessed with good mentors in my life, right from my parents to my uh, professional mentors, to Kareem, to my mentors in my company right now. Um, I guess I'm blessed, and always you have to have the mentorships, because they guide you in a certain way that you have never imagined. Of course, you have to pave your own path, but again, the mentorships are necessary to lighten up some of the parts of the path,
Yes, yes.
right?
Thank you. This is very interesting discussions. I have to go to the few last questions. I think
Yes.
this is also from Mr. Deepak. What kind of design you prefer? Simplistic and economic, or great looking, or anyway. What's your suggestion or advice on that particular point? Yes.
So a great looking design is a perspective of someone. So the beauty lies in the beholder's eyes, right? So that aspect, I guess, is covered. But for me, I like to design which can impact someone, which can inspire someone. So if a thing inspires you, if for example, if just one ring inspires you, uh, that kind of design I want to create. Okay, that is very I guess that is very it's vague in terms of the philosophy. But again, jotting down the points, it comes to a point where you need to design something which is really meaningful, unobstructive, which is really inspiring someone. And of course, for your eyes at least, it is beautiful.
Mhm, mhm. Okay. My last question is that what your advice in present condition for the corporate house or a different kind of business organization or startup for when the focus on designing on this kind of things.
Yes. So, in COVID situation, in the pandemic era, if you observe which companies made profits and which companies are making still in the better curve, are the companies which have design thinking as their base. And that has been proved in this whole pandemic. And what I would like to share to the new companies, or I like to share the corporates which are old corporations, is that it's still time to inculcate design thinking, inculcate problem solving, and the aspects of the technological views, the aspects of the psychological views and the philosophical views in the products in their line. And always try to solve problems, create something which is making sense, which is helping a lot of people, not just in terms of the usability but in terms of overall aesthetics as well. So may it be a product, or may it be a service, or may it be a brand, what I will of course suggest everyone is that we need to take a closer look to everything that we were doing till now. We have got a good domain. We have got a good period where we can pause and look at what was wrong, look at what kind of stuff we have created, and what kind of things we need to create for our for the other next generations that are going to come. So what kind of world we need to create for our offsprings is something we all as humans need to think really carefully. And that this pandemic has given us that opportunity to think, and that time to pause for a while and think about all this stuff. So we, as a company, both of my companies, we hit a good reset. We in that time, in the first lockdowns, what we did was, we first of all, we changed the entire structure of the company. We changed the entire philosophy. What we realized that when the projects are going on, when the company is working functionally very very good, you tend to overlook all the things that have been troubling you, and you tend to overlook the structuring part of it, and that structuring part of it is the most important part when it comes to things like this. So we ourselves tried to pivot a little bit, and I guess this is the time for many companies, many corporations to give a sense of pivoting, get a sense of pivoting, and get a sense of looking back at what they did and looking forward to what they want to do, and that's where the decision points are there.
Mhm. Thank you. This is actually very good discussions. I think for corporations, those who are interested to design your products and concept, you can communicate directly to our guest. And
Yes,
most
definitely.
importantly, those who ask questions. So if you have any question, you can communicate with us. We will definitely communicate with our guest today. And most
Yes.
importantly, World Talent Economy Forum, we like talent people like this, like today's guest, and those who feel that you are changing world, you are trying to contributing for your community. You want to share your thought, you want to share your concept, you can communicate with us, and definitely we will promote your concept, we will promote your business and your idea in present challenging situation. Thank you, it's actually very nice
Very much
discussion.
sincerely thank you, as well as Mr. Pathan, as well as WTEF, for having me over and giving me an opportunity to talk to people. I hope that we meet soon.
Yes,
Soon the visas will be granted,
yes,
and we meet soon in Malaysia.
yes.
And you're always welcome in India,
Yes,
anytime
definitely.
you want.
Definitely. Thank you for your very good sessions and very positive response from the audience. So I think people already like your design, your concept, and everything. Hopefully, you will win around the world. So thank you for your
Thank you.
time and
Thanks a lot.
everything.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.